Hey everybody, I'm making a short video to teach you a little bit about how I am teaching your child multiplication. Some of you are going to watch this and say, OMG, that's nuts, and I find that ridiculous. So before you watch, just remember, I do end up teaching them like the traditional algorithm to multiply like you learned. And this is just giving them the conceptual understanding of why that works, okay? So if you remember right, you probably learned a formula to find the area of a rectangle, okay? And you learned that area equals length times width, okay? So, for example, if you had a rectangle whose width was 4 and whose length was 6, you would know that the area is 24. So I multiplied the length times the width, okay? So, and then it would be like square inches or square feet or whatever, like that, okay? Now, when we start to multiply 2 by 1-digit numbers, we can actually use this rectangle as a model to solve that problem. So for example, if I had the number, let's see, 57 times 4, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 57 and I am going to expand it out or kind of like divide it up by its place value. So in the number 57, I have 5 tens, which is 50, and 7 ones. So I've got 50 plus 7. And really, like I said, I'm just dividing the tens place from the ones place. So up here, I put 50 plus 7. And over here, I'm going to put the 4, okay? Now, if I make this into 2 rectangles, technically what I'm doing is I'm finding the area of this rectangle and I'm finding the area of this rectangle. So 4 times 50 is 200 and 4 times 7 is 28. And so 57 times 4 gives me 228, okay? Something that I'm working on with the kids is multiplying by zeros. And one thing that they have learned in the past that doesn't really work is that if there's 1 0 in the problem, there should be 1 0 in the answer. But this is a perfect example of why that rule does not work. So I teach them to say that like any number times a 10 gets me that number of tens. And oh geez, my hold on, you can come with me. Okay, my lights went off. Any number times 100 is that number of hundreds. So instead of talking about like the amount of zeros, I'm saying, all right, if this is 4 times 200, I could go 200, 400, 600, 800 and know that that's 800. I also teach them about finding reasonable answers. So if they were to mess this up and only put 20, let's say, if I took the number 50 4 times, could my answer actually be 20? Because that's less than the first thing I started with, okay? So one more time, draw a rectangle. You take your number, so 64 times 3. You're going to break this into the tens plus the ones and then divide it into 2 rectangles. This number goes over here, the little one. Multiply it out, so 3 times 60 is 180 and 3 times 4 is 12. Some kids will need to do like an addition problem over here if they can't do this mentally, and that's totally fine. And so then their answer would be 192, okay? So really we're just teaching them why it works. All right, let me know if you have questions.